7 years ago, our life wasn't always like this, and if you had told me today that we would be where we are, I would have probably laughed in your face and told you you're crazy. I was in the middle of a cocaine addiction. I was living two separate lives. I thought that my family didn't really understand what was going on. I thought it was normal. I thought because I wasn't the person outside begging for money or food or homeless or carless that everything was fine. The amounts of cocaine I was using should have killed me. But I pretended everything was okay.
She got arrested and everything finally kind of came to light as far as the magnitude of how severe the problem was.
I would have thought that would have been a turning point, but it wasn't. I started coming to Palmer Drug Abuse Program, but I wasn't willing to listen to what they had to say and what they were telling me. I continued to use and I continued to go on binges, and the last binge I went on was for 2 days. And when I came home, it was Halloween and I had missed my second son's first Halloween.
I was so devastated. She had been gone for 2 days. I tried getting the police to try to find her. Our kids were constantly asking me, where their mom was at. I just sat down with her and I explained to her, that we couldn't continue down the path, that I was not going to allow our children to sit back and watch her self-destruct and essentially kill herself. I basically told her that, she could either get help or, she needed to sit down and write a letter to our children explaining why the addiction was more important than they were.
And that for me was something I wasn't willing to do. I wasn't willing to do that because I had those babies and I loved those babies. And God blessed me with those babies. And God blessed me with him, and I was taking that for granted. And so I started going to meetings and I started doing what they told me to do, and I worked the steps, and I started making a decision every day to turn my life over to God. God, keep me clean and sober another day. God, please help me to stay sober today. And I had to say the serenity prayer 1,000,000 times a day and call my sponsor 1,000,000 times a day. But it started working. Things started changing. The light bulb kind of just clicked in my head, and I started listening to God, and our marriage started changing. My relationship with my kids started changing. I started being a better mother to them.
After we had that conversation, I really saw a change in her. She dove into PDAP so wholeheartedly. It really just opened up and blossomed forward. You could see the color in her eyes actually came back, and it was a color that I hadn't seen in forever. PDAP is so much more than just about helping those who struggle with addiction. They literally take anybody and everybody who needs help, and they offer them that help.
PDAP has played a huge part in our lives, and today I literally can't imagine where our lives would be. I feel like we're successful in our marriage and we're successful parents, and God has just restored something that the enemy wanted to destroy, and I know that's not God's plan for us today. So I'm glad that I chose the other path and that I'm listening to God today and choosing his plans for my life.